Yo, Tom Fiddzy here with my review of The Bad Batch episode 4, and this episode looked beautiful. This is like the pinnacle so far of Star Wars animated television. It looked fantastic. The colours, the lighting, I loved how it had like kind of blurred backgrounds in some scenes, the framing of it, the detail, the texture in it was so good. They are really using their back catalogue of assets from all of the past series, because we had some Resistance stuff in there, that that little dog from like Naboo or whatever it is, Cuddles or whatever it was called. We saw some more of them in like the Clone Wars style, been retextured, and loads of old kind of Clone Wars stuff. And it's great to see that they're really using that library. I've talked about it before. I'm probably going to talk about it a lot more, but this series is looking absolutely fantastic. I just love the look of the ships in space and just the pure level of detail on everything, from like the market stalls, all the detail, the different aliens in the background, how loads of the characters look unique. We saw a Celestian in here, and we saw a Grand in here, and a Gran in there, the 3i one, a Reese in here, and they both look like unique characters, and that was great. I think that's something that Star Wars Explained mentioned, that it's nice to see that, one-time characters look unique, because in previous series we've seen like Imperial officers and they all got like their hats over their eyes and they all like the same character. And it was a big problem in Rebels, like in the early series, every alien looked the same, interchangeable coloured shirts. That was pretty much all it was. And you just see the same extra in the background as the person with like the tall hat. But yeah, here everything looks so like, it just feels like a real world. And yeah, it's like the closest to like the Star Wars movies in the animation so far, and I'm excited to see if they pick out for a second series what the second series is going to look like, because as every animation series increases, it gets better and better. So wow, it's going to look so good by the end of the series. I just hope they keep this style and keep improving it, because it looked fantastic. The episode overall was okay. It was an okay episode. It was a pretty standard classic episode. They go to Pantora, which is really cool. I think they're talking about like reusing assets. I think this is because they had them assets for what became the Dark Disciple, the Asajj Ventress novel. That them episodes that were going to be in the Clone Wars were meant to go to Pantora, so they just kind of reuse that stuff here. It does kind of give me hope about some of the other stuff that they can bring back, because they had all of these assets that they never used. I think they had some for like Kashyyyk. So could the Bad Batch end up going to Kashyyyk at some point? That will be actually really interesting, seeing the early Imperial occupation of the Wookiees. I wouldn't mind seeing that. And they were working on some Yutsu Vong stuff, so fingers crossed for that. But yeah, this episode, it was okay, pretty standard. You got to land the ship, you got to fix something, you got to get some supplies, and there's a bounty hunter, you're going to have a chase. It really reminded me of the car chase in Attack of the Clones, and this one was also really good. The police in Star Wars are rubbish. Learning that from every single series, that the police in Star Wars are rubbish. They're never catching the bad guys. And we got to see Fennec Shand again from The Mandalorian, but here in her early years, much more of an antagonist, because she was still like an antagonist character, not a good character in The Mandalorian, but she was an ally in the later series. Spoilers for Mandalorian. I'm assuming you've watched it, and but here she's an antagonist, and that is really cool to see. It does make, and she committed a lot of murders, so definitely an antagonist. But at the same time, I'm a little bit like, if she's gonna be like a kind of protagonist in Book of Boba Fett and maybe the next series of The Mandalorian and stuff, how dark would they go with her? Because obviously she's kind of having them redemption in them newer series, so I kind of see that there's probably going to be a bit of a redemption for her character later on. Definitely just in there for the Mandalorian hype, for the interconnectivity. Let's bring Cad Bane back. Come on, let's get him back. He's a bounty hunter that you don't have to worry about where he ends up in the future. You can go dark with Cad Bane. So maybe we can see her team up and have a change of heart. But it's exciting to see. It looks like she's going to be a regular popping up throughout the series. So it'd just be good to kind of get to know her character more, get that backstory. Because I feel like we're kind of in the Mandalorian. It was very much like you were just dropping in the middle of her life. But yeah, apart from that, this episode was pretty standard, as I said. It was just good to see the Star Wars universe looking so good in animation, and that alone just hypes me up for the rest of the series. Even if the storylines are so far they've been pretty generic. We kind of get this with every animated series, but there's only so much you can fit into a 24-minute long episode, so that's fine as long as by the end of the series, I'm like, oh, there was some cool, unique stuff in there. It was good to see that Echo kind of embracing his more robotic aspects in this. He still kind of feels a little bit of an oddball compared to how much Tech is the tech guy, but he is the robot guy. And then he doesn't really have his own kind of role. But it was good to see that he kind of fit in here. He is kind of just a droid. He's been treated more of a droid than the Gonk droid is. Again, good to see the Gonk droid in the background. Again, just seems like the Gonk droid's now a main character. Let's get a Gonk droid centered episode. Get a name. Have we not got a name for it yet? And yeah, apart from that, I haven't really got much else to say about it. Yeah, just kind of hoping now that when they're looking for bounty hunters and stuff, so that does open up a lot of more exciting doors. Kind of gives you an idea as to where the first series is going to go, with the bounty hunters getting closer and closer to Omega, and I'm guessing through that finding out a little bit more truth as to what's going on with the Kaminoans. I mean, maybe Fennec is working for the good Kaminoan that kind of let Omega go to get Omega away and get Omega somewhere safe. That would be a kind of a cool twist, maybe. But yeah, apart from that, standard episode, but a beautiful looking episode. Not got much else to say. Okay, let me know your thoughts down below, comments and subscribes and likes and all that good stuff. Bye. Gong, gong, gong.